Well, if it isn't the problematic darlings, how's it going? What a lovely evening it's turning out to be. I just left the Dollar Tree. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. I'm going to the Dollar Tree. I am not wearing a designer top or any of my HRH custom made jewelry. I am up here at the library stealing their Wi Fi because I'm almost over my mobile data. How the mighty have fallen. Boop, boop. So much has happened in just the last few days. So much has happened. So this could be a very fun and entertaining video, but I want to concentrate on a couple of new channels that I've discovered over the last few months, maybe year, and I really, really want to highly recommend them to you because they're becoming really, really important to me. One's on Instagram, and one is here on YouTube, and it's the channel of a very, very, very legendary, iconic person. Some of my viewers may not have heard of this particular performer, but by the time you're done with this, you will have. Do you guys remember a couple years ago? My battery's going to die soon, by the way. Might die while I'm filming this. Do you remember a couple years ago when we could never find a good place to live? I always was having issues with my roommates or the place that I was living at or whatever. And the only time I was ever happy was when I lived in hotels. Well, it's happened again, and this time I am not bougie enough to be able to afford nice hotels. At one point, I was filming from the hotel I lived in, which was the Hotel Indigo, and I was paying $360 a night. That's how bougie I was, and that's how hot my YouTube channel and my webcamming career was. It's not like that anymore. Um, Basically, I am living. Someone is letting me stay with them while get ready to go back to my day job. I'm going back to returning to waiting tables at a hotel that I worked at, very upscale. So next week. Oh, can't wait. I need money, but my battery's going to die any minute now. But long story short, where I was living, the lease wasn't in my name. It was in someone who I thought was a friend's name, and he was in and out of rehab. And so eventually he was gone so long, the apartment became mine. I was on the lease as a tenant, but it wasn't in my name. And people were moving in and out, and they were into all sorts of stuff. It was just so much to handle. I was already going through a major, major depression. The only thing keeping me alive was my lithium that was prescribed to me. I was really, really going through it, and I was living off my pension, which was money that had been left to me from my mom's estate, my mother's death. Anyway, I was living off of that. Eventually, I couldn't afford it anymore. We got evicted, and he had come back and had relapsed on drugs, and we got into a big brouhaha the night before we were supposed to be evicted, and everything came to a head. Anyway, I found another place that night leaving, and I'm now basically staying in someone's house with them. So obviously setting has changed. I'm in the laundromat now. Interestingly and surprisingly, I'm the only one here, though I did think I just saw a mouse. So let's speed this up, shall we? She swallows. What? Anyway, so I'm very grateful to where I'm living, and the lady saw me, running down the street, basically crying. I was growing crazy because I hadn't gotten my cat, and my cat was still there with my now ex roommate, who basically had just almost physically attacked me. But she agreed to let me come in and get myself together and stay for a while, and thank God, thank God. So, on to more important subjects. I want to talk about two channels that I am just crazy about. And one is on Instagram and one is here on YouTube. So, the first one is from a British performer by the name of Marilyn. Marilyn was in the 80s very closely associated with and very close friends with Boy George from Culture Club. Of course, you know who Boy George is. And he was part of the not alone anymore. He was part of the gender bender movement in the early 80s. Pete Burns, Boy George. Who else? Maybe Sylvester, but Sylvester wasn't British. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's a reason I'm gonna say he because he basically identifies as male, but he looks like Marilyn Monroe, and it's just totally gorgeous. And it was interesting because being a kid here in the states, they were always one minute they're friends, the next they're mortal enemies, and that's how it was between the two of those in the press. But they were good friends and they were great fun. And what's very interesting, as an 11, 12-year old, is that Boy George was very pretty. and had a very smart ass mouth. But at the core, Boy George was very non-sexual. Like you didn't see, and I'm sure he did because apparently he was a wild thing. I read the book, Take It Like a Man, the name of his book. I love Boy George, by the way. He follows me on Twitter, and so I love that. But Boy George, you didn't see that sexual spark. Marilyn, on the other hand, was very happy being the sex symbol that he was. And he was sexy as a girl and sexy as a guy. And when you look at Marilyn, and this is coming from a kid, you know Marilyn enjoyed sex. You could definitely tell that. Marilyn had some top 40 hits in Britain. I always felt like the success that he had in Britain, why it never transferred to America, I have no idea. I never could really understand why. Well, Boy George did have somewhat the voice of an angel. Marilyn was a little more rock and roll and a little more sexual innuendos, a little more in your face. And of course, America being America, well, we have to, ooh, you know. But I always felt that should have been such a more well-known performer here in America. He did play some dates in New York at some point in the 80s and had some success there. Knows lots of celebrities. Anyway, his channel is just so much fun. And, you know, I talk about me. No one can make you laugh. No one can make you cry quite like Hillary Mansfield. I can say the same thing about Marilyn because his video today just brought tears to my eyes because he's really going through a hard time. And he told some stories and it's very, very touching. And I just love him. As many of you know, I filmed this my most of my videos in segments and parts. I use the Snapchat filters because yes, I am of a certain age, and yes, I will use a filter. I'm an interview Saturday night. I've been getting DMs for the past year about how, the filters that I used for me to stop it. Well, no, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to continue to use filters, but Snapchat filters only let you go for so long, but they are the best. That's why sometimes it's in my videos. But if you want to hear some great old stories about some fascinating people, including Boy George and Diana Ross and just people that he's met, performed with, he was in Band Aid. Do They Know It's Christmas? He's prominently featured in the Band Aid video, Do They Know It's Christmas? Which, of course, ultimately led to USA for Africa, We Are the World. There's video footage of Marilyn wearing this luscious white fur. Come to find out, he has said since that it was a fake fur. Really, Maz? I love fur too. Marilyn reminds me a little bit of another YouTube creator that I love by the name of Peter Mon, who Marilyn also watches and talks about. Um, Love Peter Mon. Peter Mon has changed so. In the 3 years I have been a huge fan and watching him, he has gone from being Santa Claus and Daddy and Leslie Jordan to Don't Fuck With Me. And I personally love it. I personally love it. Yay to Peter. But he reminds me of this because Marilyn is so real and he'll tell you exactly what's going on. And today he told a heartbreaking story. And I wish it weren't true, but I'm sure it was. So I highly recommend the Maryland channel, and it is the Mr. Maryland. I will definitely have a link under here. Love you, Maryland. I hope you're watching and keep your chin up. And ooh, boop. The next creators I want to talk about are on Instagram. Their podcast is on Instagram. They do have a channel here on YouTube. It's fledgling. It's new, so we're going to help build that up, right? But I will be a guest on their podcast next Tuesday at midnight. So technically Wednesday morning, but Tuesday at midnight, I will be a guest on their podcast. The podcast is called More Taboo Than Me. And it's hosted by the male Mona Lisa, who looks almost exactly like Toxic Johnson, and so also That's So Ryan, who That's So Ryan is like seeing another version of me. I'm like, because I've talked to these guys, these boys on the phone, and I'm just like, this is like family. So this is going to be really, really, really wild. Something coming up this weekend. This weekend, we're filming a Hill Jane Uninhibited, where we're going to interview each other. We're going to get to know them. My followers are going to get to know them, and their followers are going to get to know me. Um, I'm going to talk very personal. I'm going to give an in-depth interview about why I took a whole fucking year off. Oops, ooh, a whole fucking year off from YouTube. What led up to it? What was I doing? How am I? Is my kidney okay? Is my heart okay? Am I still married? We're going to talk about all that. And then on Tuesday at midnight, I will be a guest. And the way they do it, they do the split screen thing. That and it's on Instagram. I'll put a link. Excuse me. But they cover very interesting topics, and they do it in a way that's very Generation Z, I think, which I think is cool. And it's going to be some really serious topics that we're talking about Tuesday. It's called TOO TABOO, and there's been these type of subjects that they'll humor or what's perceived as humor in it. And there's this new wave of it being somewhat hip to say you have a mental illness. And we're going to talk about that. Now, as someone who does have a mental illness, depression, manic, and suicide ideation, which, by the way, every other day, I hear every other day about suicide ideation, which is shocking. I actually do have it. Um, but we're going to talk about that. And some other things, too, is a cross between serious subjects and hot topics and hot tea. And two of the most gorgeous. I consider them they're like club kids. They're so hot, they're so cool, and I just can't wait. We've talked on the phone, and me and Spirit Cat, who is Demel Mona Lisa, have been planning this since like October. So it's finally happening, and so I know you're going to tune in. So that's what's coming up. I know you're going to tune in this weekend. We're filming the episode Saturday, and so it'll be up late Saturday night or maybe early Sunday, and then we're doing the Instagram podcast Tuesday at midnight. And just I highly recommend the Mr. Maryland channel. And Maryland, if you're watching, because I'm going to send you lots of DMs promoting this video because wanted you to see and I want to talk about here. I just want you to know that I just respect you, everything that you're going through, the thing with your mother. I'm thinking of you, and I just have mad respect and admiration. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan. We're sisters. God damn it. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching the videos. We're doing pretty well. Let's get more thousands up there. They stopped my AdSense. I need it. Let's start it up again. All right, to get home. I gotta get home to my kitty cat, my beautiful tabby, the most beautiful cat in the world. Everybody says it's nice. Can I come and visit? I'll be at your place tonight. Please don't demonetize me. YouTube, I did not use the original recording, and maybe I changed the lyrics, so please don't demonetize me. I need my 12 cents. Anyway, you guys have a great, great night, day, whatever it is you're watching this. Thank you for the support, the love, and I feel it. And I want anyone out there to know whatever you're going through, it's going to be okay. And goddamn it, if I say it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. You know why? Because we can get through anything as long as we're together. Now go out and get you some.